As it happened, the kidnapper's spacecraft was converging with another, even more extraordinary ship. A space-time craft in the form of a square blue box with a flashing light on top. A police box of a type used on Earth in the 20th century. It was called the TARDIS, and it was the property, or at least it was currently in the possession of, a wandering renegade Time Lord known as the Doctor. The TARDIS had many unusual features. Among them, that of being dimensionally transcendental. Small on the outside, infinitely larger on the inside. In the brightly lit central control room of the TARDIS, the Doctor was hard at work. At this time in his lives, he was a very tall man with wide, staring eyes, and a mop of curly hair. Much of the time he wore a long, elegant coat, something between overcoat and smoking jacket, made of some reddish, velvety material, and cut in a vaguely Edwardian style. Just now the Doctor was in his shirt sleeves, and wearing an apron round his waist. The coat, together with an incredibly long multicoloured scarf and a broad-brimmed soft hat, were hanging on an old-fashioned coat stand that looked strangely out of place in the control room. At this particular moment, the Doctor wasn't actually controlling the TARDIS. He was leaving this to his time-lady companion, Romana, a fair-haired, classically good-looking young woman with an impressively high forehead and an air of aristocratic hauteur. Romana had a great sense of her own dignity, which sometimes suffered in her association with the Doctor. The task presently occupying the Doctor was the repair of K9, who had been temporarily immobilized by a rash dip in the sea. In appearance a kind of robot dog, K9, as he would be the first to tell you when in good health, was a self-powered mobile computer with defense capabilities. If anything, the little automaton had an even greater sense of dignity than Romana. For the time being, however, K9 was lying mute and immobile on a table, his circuits corroded by brine. The Doctor, who loved a good tinker, was happily working away at K9's innards with his sonic screwdriver, leaving Romana in charge of the many-sided central control console. The Doctor worked absorbedly for some time, occasionally muttering to himself odd disjointed phrases like, "Aha, that's it," and "Where did I put those electro pliers?" In between times he whistled an old Martian lullaby between his teeth. For some reason, Romana found all this very irritating. She moved around the console, adjusting controls and checking dials, shooting the Doctor an occasional glance of irritation. At last, the Doctor looked up. "Nearly there, Romana. This is the delicate bit. You'd better stop the TARDIS. We don't want any nasty jolts." Romana studied the navigational console. "We seem to be in the Prion planetary system at the moment. We'd better land." The Doctor frowned. The Prion planetary system sounded vaguely familiar, but he couldn't remember whether that was familiar good or bad. "Never mind, hovering will do." As always, Romana felt her way was best. "You're sure, Doctor? There's a planet called Tigella that looks quite handy." The Doctor was brooding over K9's circuits. "Tigella? Never heard of it." "Well, there's one called Zolfathura as well. You must have heard of that. It's in all the history books." "They're all in someone's history books. What's so special about Zolfathura?" "A great technological civilization, supposed to have made incredible breakthroughs in energy matrix technology. Destroyed itself in some mysterious internal war. A whole great civilization blown away to sand and ashes. Now all that's left is the screens." "Quite. What screens?" "Enormous metal screens. 5 of them, set up on the surface of the planet for some long-forgotten purpose. The screens of Zolfathura." "Oh, those screens." The Doctor's head popped up. "Of course. I've been to Tigella. You did say Tigella, didn't you?" "That's right." "Well, I've been there.